You're listening to Funny Peculiar with Jeff Downs.
Welcome to another episode of Funny Peculiar. Again, thanks for listening, thanks for downloading. Keep sharing, keep telling your friends. The alternative podcast for alternative people, that's what it's about. I appreciate your support. And listen, we've got a great guest this week, and it's my first female drag queen, and it's Victoria Scone. Now, I bumped into Victoria at the... there goes my phone. More great guests coming on the show, just confirming, no doubt. And I was in the semi-final of Drag Idol, and that's where I saw Victoria Scone perform for the first time. An amazing performance. She won the semi-final, went straight on into the final. So you're going to have to wait until the end of the show to find out how Victoria did, because we talked about Drag Idol, but when we recorded the interview, she was mid semi-final going on to the final. So there you go, you have to stick around. So if you want to follow Victoria, she's on Facebook, so it's Victoria Scone, and she's also on Instagram as Victoria Queen of Scones. So we chat all things song, dance, musical, but drag, and how she became a female drag queen. So it's my very first female drag queen on Funny Peculiar. So without further ado, let's go over and let's listen to Victoria Scone. So, welcome to another episode of Funny Peculiar Podcast, and this week I have the wonderful, gorgeous Victoria Scone. Hello, Victoria.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very good, although my voice is a little bit Barry White. Can you hear that? It's gone a bit low.
Very sexy.
But thank you. It only happens about 2 weeks of the year when I get a cold, so grab the opportunity while you can. Anyway, so now... Also, your real name is not Victoria Scone. Now, this is your drag character.
Yes.
This is something we're going to talk about. This is something new on Funny Peculiar, because I've spoken to drag queens, but I've not spoken to female drag queens, which is, again, not so new, but it's a newish thing. So how did you sort of get into being a female drag queen then?
Really, I have always been a huge admirer of the drag and cabaret scene. I've been in performing arts all my life, but really only recently it's always been a thing, as you said, but on mainstream sort of social media, I've been seeing that women have been making it more mainstream. And really, I just thought, well, I want a bit of that, really.
Yeah. Well...
So I saw on Instagram, I believe, that there was a competition called Drag Idol,
right?
Which I'm sure we're going to touch on a bit later.
Yeah.
But that's really what got me into this, and I am fully addicted, and I can't stop now, and I don't see myself going anywhere soon.
No, wonderful. Well, yeah, and as we said, it was part of the Drag Idol competition, and just to say as well, and I do characters, and you have characters. So Victoria Scone, or Scone, depending on the part of the country you're from. But I love Victoria Scone, and so, but that's not your real name. So your actual name is, what's your actual first real name? Let's hear.
So my real name is Emily. My stage name is Emily Diapre.
Right.
Very French, but that's not also my real surname.
Right.
So my real surname is Diaper, spelt like the American nappy.
Right.
But one didn't find that very professional for the stage, so that quickly got changed to Diapre, which is a good conversation starter.
It is. That's wonderful. Well, advice to anybody out there who has a name they're not happy with, so just flip a few letters, make it sound French, and
flip the R and the A.
That's wonderful. So for people that again don't know, Drag Idol UK is a sort of competition run over in the UK here, and it's up and down the country, and they search for the latest or next greatest drag star. So, of which I met you at the semi-final because I was in it myself.
Yes, you did very well.
Oh, thank you very much. But I think we can now say that you are one of the finalists. So many congratulations of Drag Idol 2018, and you've made it through to the final. When is the final?
So the final is this Friday coming, the 29th of June, 2018.
Right.
At the Two Brewers in Clapham.
Wow. Fantastic.
It was 8 p.m, then it was 9, and now it's 9:30. So that's drag time for you.
Oh, my Lord, drag time. Again, for people that don't know, drag shows, and I saw one last night, they start about 10:30, and finish
If you're
about
lucky.
12:30, 1 in the morning. Everything is just goes on another few hours, so and it gets very late. So, how are you feeling about the final?
Very excited. I really can't wait to get up on there. It's
Yeah.
going to be such a show. The other three finalists are just quite spectacular, and I really can't wait. So we've got Zayn Fallick, who
Yeah.
is a drag king. So
Yeah.
we've really got quite a varied final, which
Yeah.
is great. So Zayn Fallick, who's a drag king. We've got Vivian Lindsay, who is representing Eden, actually, where we were at the
Yeah.
semi-finals. She's a drag queen. And then our wildcard winner, which we can now announce,
We can.
is Felix the Freak.
It is.
Woohoo! So Felix, Vivian, and Zayn, they're all really amazing.
And it's
and I would really recommend coming to see.
yes, I think, and for anybody wanting, and Zayn as well, because I was getting now Zayn. That's she is a he, as I understand, and he then dresses. He likes to dress as a lady, but he also does drag. But the drag king, which is a female being a drag. No, not a drag queen. I'm getting confused now. So drag king is it's traditionally lesbians or that become then butch, don't they? They sort of butch up.
Or a female-born performer.
Yes, that's
a female-identifying performer.
That's it.
Performing as a male.
And so that's something I will, and I'm tracking down drag kings as well. So perhaps I'll get Zayn as well. But there's loads of others out there,
Yes.
and I must get them on. But anyway, for you as well. So now when I saw you as well, you what a voice, and you do a lot of. And for people again who haven't seen you, so how would you describe your act? So if you just talk us through what you actually do.
Yes, of course. Well, as Emily, I was trained in musical theatre majority of my life, and that has, to no surprise, not gone very well in regards to a professional career. So that kind of
why is that? Just because you've done trained musical theatre, is that a tough circuit getting into the musicals?
Very much so, yes. And as a lady of stature, I am a bigger built lady. I think that would mean for me it would be even more difficult. There are roles out there, and I really hope to potentially put my foot back in that industry one day. But it is a really tough industry, as is drag. So I don't know why I do this to myself, really.
No,
just trying my hand at different hard industries.
So would you say West End, the music, are they slightly discriminating that they just want a stock standard? This person, we need them to be this weight, this height. And because they just don't have time for anybody that might be slightly different, or
There is definitely an element of that in potentially the chorus roles. There's definitely improvement on all aspects of theatre, really. So gender, sexuality, size, build, ethnicity, it's all becoming better. It is moving forward, which is great. But there is still an element of that, definitely, with size in musical theatre.
Sure. And does that,
I knew that going in.
You knew that. And so take us back. So you went to did you train at a university degree, or you did it yourself through college or acting?
I went to a musical theatre college.
Oh right.
So
Which
3
one?
years.
Which one was that?
Bird College.
Oh right. Okay. Whereabouts is that? Is that London?
It's in Sidcup in South London.
Oh
yes.
right, Sidcup. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you did that for 3 years, and through that you looked at lots of different styles of singing. Is that how it works?
Absolutely. Yep. Singing, dancing, acting, all of it. And it was a really great 3 years.
Wow.
Taught me a lot. But I did get an agent from it afterwards. However, that eventually didn't go great. Wasn't really getting any roles, and I'm a bit of an impatient person.
Right. Okay.
So I went on to try different things, different career paths. But I do like putting my fingers in lots of different pies. I get a bit sensitive and a bit bored.
but there's a net essence of pushing yourself there, especially in that try. So when you I think for degrees, did you do a final piece? Did you have to produce a final number or write your own songs?
Well, I didn't do a degree. I did a what's it called? Not a degree, diploma. Is that the one?
Oh right, okay.
I can't even remember what it's called.
Yeah.
We do like a big show at the end. We do lots of different mini showcases to try and get agent interest. But I didn't do a degree as such. But it's the same course. That the degrees do,
sure. But you would have done. Did you do a final piece? Did you have a sort of big show number that you had to do, or was it just a selection of songs?
Yeah, it was just like a plethora of acting, singing, and dancing.
Oh, well, fantastic.
In one big showcase. Yeah, it was great fun.
Brilliant.
But that's kind of what, well, my failed career is kind of what I've based Victoria Scone on.
Yeah.
So I've sort of chosen a specific part of my personality, and put her under a magnifying glass, and that is what Victoria Scone is, really.
And she, when I saw you performing, you start off. There's a really funny bit at the beginning with the YouTube. There's comedy there,
Yes.
and I won't give too much away so people can come and see you. And
Yes.
then you started, and then you were singing, and I loved your hair, and you had the sort of victory roll. So how did Victoria Scone come about then? The name, and again the look that you went for, which was kind of. Well, I'll let you describe Victoria.
Okay. Well, when I was thinking of a drag name for Victoria, I wanted something quite regal and royal. Partly also because I'm not sure if you even know this about me, but I am a pageant queen.
Right.
Something else I've put my finger in.
Very good. Now, what's now pageant queen? What was?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So, and a big part of my failed career also, as I mentioned, was my size. So I entered a plus-size beauty pageant called Miss British Beauty Curve. And then I went and won that. So I'm actually currently Miss British Beauty Curve.
Now, then you keep these things from me. So it's like wonderful. Well, I'm going to put that on the bio, and I'll put that on. Well, many congratulations. And when how long was this last year before?
Yeah, it was last August,
Brilliant.
so I have to hand my crown over this August coming, which is very sad. But yes,
fantastic.
Pass the baton.
And then again, was that down a catwalk, selection of outfits?
Absolutely, yeah. So there was glitz and glam round, which I chose to do something a bit political for that. So at the time, the phrase "We are not afraid" was quite prominent in London. So I sort of based a costume on that, which was really successful, actually. That was probably my favourite costume. We then did a swimwear round and an evening wear round.
Wonderful.
And an interview. And
I should say as well, and I'll say this at the beginning of the podcast. You have an Instagram account and Facebook?
Yep. So Victoria Scone is at Victoria Queen of Scones.
Oh, of course.
Or scones.
Yes. Yep. And go on, Facebook is
Victoria Scone. I think that's just Victoria Scone.
Right,
yeah.
Brilliant. So just describe one of the outfits for the beauty pageant that you had. What was you did tell us about the political state. What did that look like? What was the sort of material? What was the look?
Okay, so I went for the sort of Grenadier Guard jacket. With thigh high. I think you would love these. I think you've seen them actually. My thigh high.
Yes.
Bedazzled hand rhinestone boots.
Yes, they are gorgeous. They are wonderful. I think. Can we see this on your Instagram account? I think there is.
It's on my personal one, yes.
Yeah, brilliant, fantastic. So people go. So you had the sort of Grenadier Guards jacket, the thigh-high boots, and what was the hair? We'll get onto your makeup because, as you know, I'm an absolute fan of your makeup and your look. So what was the hair doing, and describe the makeup as well.
I think the hair and makeup was sort of typical beauty pageant, big bouncy blow dry, stage makeup, a lovely red lip, something not too phenomenal, but the most phenomenal part about the outfit was that I had this huge ring skirt that was like a reveal. Right. So I came on with it down, and then I sort of lifted my arms up and pulled it over my head, and it had a big "We are not afraid" behind me, and then with the London skyline. So that got a nice big response.
Oh, fantastic! And that's that's something you've just sort of twisted for the night, and it gave it a little bit of edge, which was something a bit different. Oh, fantastic! So you won this competition. So and then you hand your crown over later. So you'll be welcome back then, I take it, and then you get to do the power of giving the crown back. Or
yes. I'll be heavily involved in the day. I think I'll be actually partly judging as well. So judging who takes the next crown.
Wonderful. And so is this the birth of Victoria Scone? Do you feel this is where she started to come through?
Yeah, absolutely. I think from that point, people sort of knew me as this regal figure in the plus size sort of industry, definitely. So that's definitely why I wanted to have some sort of royal name. Originally, we had a few different options. I had Victoria Reigns as an option.
Right. Okay. Like
which
that.
I really liked, but some people didn't like. So we went with Victoria Sponge, actually.
Oh, right,
First,
okay, right,
but there are a few Victoria Sponges.
right.
So we didn't settle with that. We went with Victoria Scone, and the pun of it is that it's supposed to sound like Victoria's gone. So that whole name came from a gag when I talked with Victoria Sponge, my mentor from Central Station.
Oh, right, okay.
That when Victoria Sponge isn't going to turn up to a gig one day, and everyone will say, "Where's Victoria Scone?" and then I will appear. So that's the whole point of my name, is from that one joke.
But then sometimes they need these names. They need the thought, and it's got to sort of link in somewhere. So Victoria Sponge was a drag queen, a female drag queen that was helping you.
Yes, no, she is a traditional drag queen.
She's just right, okay.
Yes. So she is the resident drag queen at Central Station in London, which is where I won and am representing in Drag Idol.
Right, okay. Oh, that's that. Oh, but because so many different venues, I think, as well, to people that don't know, there's lots of different drag venues up and down the country, but especially in London, Two Brewers in Clapham seems to be big. There's the Admiral Duncan in Soho,
Royal Vauxhall Tavern,
which is very famous, and Central Station, which I hadn't heard about, but now I'm learning is another big venue. So so Victoria is now slowly coming alive, and this is when you saw the ad for Drag Idol, and so when did you first perform Victoria Scone? When was your very first performance?
Ironically, it was at the Two Brewers in Clapham, which is where the final is going to be.
Wow!
So it's really come full circle for me, or for Victoria. So my first performance was at Two Brewers, and it absolutely flopped.
Really?
It was good. There wasn't really much of a concept. I don't think Victoria knew who she was at that point. But I learnt so much even from that first performance. It's really valuable.
And what did you come on? What was your opening number? What was your song? What were you doing?
So I definitely still had the whole failed musical theatre performer act. I sang "I Just Want to Dance" from Jerry Springer, and then I did a mix into "Let Me Dance for You" from Chorus Line.
Okay, right. So, which is again another.
Oh no, that's the wrong one. It was "Give Me Somebody to Dance For." Sorry, "Music in the Mirror" from Chorus Line. That was the one.
Ah, right. Okay. So these are Chorus Line. Now that's a. I'm not. I know so many musicals, and I know that became a film, didn't it, with Michael Douglas in it?
Yes.
But it's a very famous Broadway musical, isn't it? I think that ran for years. Is it 70s or 80s Chorus Line?
Oh, I would think 80s.
80s, right? Okay.
I know my mum was a big fan. So.
Ah, right. Okay. So what do your family think? And your mum's a big fan. Does she sing, or is there a connection?
Yeah. My mum is very stagey. She did dancing all her life. She was actually on Benny Hill.
Oh, really?
You're familiar with the TV program? Yes.
Wow.
She was a Benny Hill's angel.
Oh, was she? She would have been in one of the Yakety Yak. Sort of those. Wow. Okay.
That's her ringtone.
So growing up, you've always known that your mum's obviously been involved in television, theatre, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. She's been a really big influence. Her and my dad are both very supportive.
And is your dad into theatre or that sort of?
He loves it. It's not his career or his path, but he does love it. He's so supportive. He comes sees me and everything that he can.
Wonderful.
He's a proper bloke, bless him. But he's so lovely.
So so he'll obviously are they coming to see you in the final?
Unfortunately not, they're on holiday.
Oh.
But, I know they're so upset, but it was pre-booked holiday. I can't be too angry at them.
So
they deserve it.
Listen, this is just the start of your career. You are, when I saw you, you've got sort of natural talent written all over you. So, but just going back to that first gig you did, because and so you sang those songs. So how was that the first time you were doing that character, you're singing those songs, pressure is on you to get it right.
Yes.
So as you walked on, how were you feeling in that initial moment?
I have to say I was absolutely bricking it. I was first performer of the night.
Right.
So I was terrified, but I was so excited. I did feel like I was taking my first steps into my drag career, like my first baby drag steps.
Yeah.
I vividly remember my first steps on stage. It's funny you say that. I've got it on film. The look of horror in my eyes.
So,
But,
this was, sorry, when you say the first time, did you before have a moment when you were very young, when you were on, what was your first time on stage when you were growing up then? What's your memory of?
oh gosh, no, I would not remember that. I think I've been on stage since I was 3. So.
Oh, right, okay. So you've been performing partly due to your mum's always encouraged you to
Yeah.
do. So you've been performing. So as young as 3, you've been doing some sort of performance.
Yeah, I mean, not in professional shows,
No,
of course,
sure.
but in Amdram
Yeah.
and dance competitions. But it's all been very educational, and it's great to give me confidence in life in general as well,
Sure.
for job interviews. And it is, yeah, I would definitely recommend doing dancing or performing of some sort, because it's really great for the confidence.
Yeah, and
As you
so
can probably tell.
no, absolutely. The way when you came on stage at Eden, which was the semi-final, you just wow, it was such a presence. So so we go back to your first. So there you are coming on. This is your first time as a drag performance, and you're first on, and you've got to get the songs right. And so come the end of that performance, and for people again very quickly, to the drag idol competitions, to the heats. Generally, you have a panel of judges. There's about 4 or 5 acts. Everybody gets about 10 minutes, which I think is about right, and you get to sing
Yeah.
songs or do whatever you want. There's lip syncing, there's comedy, there's all sorts. So you were in a sort of a group of 6 people. So you finish your act, and how did you feel when you finished?
I was absolutely knackered because my act was more dancey than my acts are now.
Okay.
Really, I sang the 2 songs and then I did a 5-minute dance.
Oh, right, yeah, okay.
Yes, which I got mixed feedback about. I think they wanted to see more of the character, more songs, more sort of chatter to really get to know who Victoria was. But yeah, after I performed, I felt really good to have done it. And the response was really positive from the audience. I mean, obviously they were absolutely sloshed, but
Yeah.
they loved it regardless. But I got really good feedback, and also some feedback that was constructive criticism that I could really work on, which I'm really grateful for. Because if we don't get constructive criticism, then we'll never grow and we'll never learn. So
Sure.
yeah, it was really, really good, a good mixed bag of feedback.
Well, and then so you came back for the second. Was it a final of then your area that you had to then perform for? Is that right?
Yeah, so after I did Brewers, I didn't place at all. So I didn't win the round, and I didn't come runner up. So that was kind of it for me. But then Dave, the lovely Dave Cross, one of the head judges from pretty much most of the London venues, he advised me to apply for different venues. So I did. I applied for Central Station because I knew they had potentially some places left, and Admiral Duncan. So my next what I did was Central Station, and I was lucky enough to win that one. And then a few days later, I won at Admiral Duncan.
Wow.
I know. There's a real turnaround. I was shocked.
And this is a learning curve you're going through each time. So
Absolutely.
you're changing. You're dropping that song. You're not doing the dance. You're probably putting more. Is that what was happening?
Absolutely, yeah. So I added some chatter at the beginning and between the songs, slightly less dance. Yeah, it was definitely evolving each time. And then because I won Central Station, I got through to their sort of venue final, as you'd know. And then I was lucky enough to win that. And then that's when I sort of debuted the new act that you are familiar with.
Yes.
So I did do a completely new act at that point. I thought I had used the first act to its full potential, so really evolved.
So when I saw you changed it again. You'd added in new songs.
Yes,
Wow.
It's completely different. I've not done technically the same act twice.
Yeah.
There's always room to grow, so yeah.
So but listen, hey, the different again, your repertoire, and again, you're evolving. Your songs are evolving, and your voice was incredible. How long did it take for you to get your voice trained to that standard?
It's very kind of you to say that. I wouldn't consider. I think with my nerves, that my voice does alter a little bit. I have had vocal training, definitely. Well, with the 3 years at Bird,
Yeah.
And I have taken some singing lessons since probably I was about 14.
Yeah.
But I think well, it's definitely the smoking that hurts. Don't smoke, kids. But yeah, I think I do need to sort of take up my singing lessons again or something, because nerves are a real problem and they really alter my voice.
And
I need to do some breathing sessions or something.
And with singing and learning to sing, and I've dabbled with it in the past, but not to your standard. Yes. And is it a confidence thing, singing? They say there's technique, there's so much you can learn, and there's scales and muscle memory. But
yes.
Is it a big thing about confidence as well?
I would definitely say confidence, but singing lessons are vital, I think, because then when you do get hit with the nerves, you can learn about your placement of your voice, where you want to sit. If you're not quite comfortable to hit that note in a belt, where else you can put your voice so that you hit it. There are lots of different things, but confidence, absolutely, because if you're too tentative to hit a note, then you're just never going to hit it.
Sure.
But if you mix with the confidence and the training, then you'll be flying. Yeah, absolutely.
And with singing as well, there's a lot of breath control. But for people that don't know about singing, there's various things on resonance of how the shape of your mouth, the way that you're.
Absolutely.
Just talk a little bit about technique.
Oh gosh, now you're really.
So I'm pushing it. Just because I was talking to someone about it the other day where I work, and they've got singing teachers, and it's really well. I spoke to this guy, and he was married to an opera singer, and I said, well, apparently, I said, you've got to sing from your diaphragm, and he said that's a total myth. Now he said that's a myth. You don't have to sing from your diaphragm. So is that true or not?
Well, we are always taught to sing from the diaphragm. As dancers, we tend to hold in our stomach muscles very tight because we're trained to always have a solid core, which can be restricting for us in particular. So I would say I agree that with opera singers, you're probably taught a completely different thing that dancer singers are taught. Because when you're dancing and singing at the same time, if you're constantly holding your core in, then you're never going to get the voice out because it's so tense. So you need to learn how to do both at the same time. So we're taught to splat. So you push your stomach out. So that's something to Google.
Well, what's that? Splat?
Splat, S-P-L-A-T. And if you think I remember what that stands for, you'd be wrong. But I know what to do with my body.
So splat is so of course I never. Do you know? You just said that. I never thought for one moment. Of course, if you're on stage and you're dancing and you've got to sing, then you've got your muscles are working downstairs to control everything, and then you've got to sing on top of that, so it's more body control. I didn't even think about that. So,
it's a whole different ball game to just standing and singing.
It's something else completely. So then again, there's technique around that, and splat is part of that, is it?
Yes. Well, when we were in college, we learned about the Estill technique.
The Estill technique.
Estill, yes.
Estill, and is that named after a person who came up?
It is. It's a lady. So I would definitely recommend a Google of that. I'm the wrong person.
Estill, yeah. So Google Estill. I'm writing this down myself.
Absolutely.
This is right. Okay, and this is a technique that you learn.
Yes, and it's all about the placement of the voice, your larynx and your tongue and your soft palate. But it's all very useful. It's all in my memory somewhere, but I really have to dig deep.
No, that's fine. That's interesting. So I've learned splat and Estelle in about 2 sentences. I like that. So Victoria's now becoming bigger. Your songs are getting sort of sharper. So she's becoming a more defined character on stage.
Yes.
So I mean, obviously, whatever happens with the final, where do you think Victoria Scone's going to go after the final? Do you want to do this full time professionally? Do you think?
I absolutely do. Yes. Really, after the final is when the hard work begins for me and for Victoria. I really got to roll with the momentum of Drag Idol. Whether I win or not, I need to really try and get my gigs, try and make my way in the London cabaret scene. That's where I want to be headed. I mean, eventually, it was always my dream to make a career out of singing and performing somehow.
Sure.
Not a specific way at all. I just love to be on stage and performing and entertaining.
Yeah.
So that's the dream.
And you've also, by just sort of by sheer fluke or accident, you just saw this competition, and wow, you're in the final, and this could be so. And again, and we were talking earlier because we weren't sure if you were the first female drag competitor in the final, but as far as I know, I think you are. But how does that feel? And I think the competition's opened up with Zayn is a little bit different. It's not traditionally drag queens, which are gay men dressing as women and singing, so it's slightly different. How does that feel to be in that sort of this final now?
Well, I think, as you said, it has kind of happened by fluke that I am here. But I think just the sheer point that I am here shows that regardless of your gender, your sexuality, or anything, that if you have got something that is entertaining, then someone's gonna pick you to win and to be where you are now. And I think that's really important, and it's really showing how Drag Idol and how the cabaret and the drag scene is evolving. It's not even something that's been discussed, which is great, because we don't need to discuss it necessarily in the competition. It's just, I am a drag performer, the other finalists are drag performers, and we are all entertaining, and we've all got something to give.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, and your makeup is, and again, for anybody listening, go to Victoria's Instagram account, and she does the most amazing makeup. And how did you sort of get it? Obviously, as a woman, you'll be used to wearing makeup, so you knew how to apply, but then drag is another look, isn't it? So how did you start to develop Victoria's look?
I think I have always had an interest in makeup, especially with stage makeup.
Yeah.
Being trained in theatre, that is something you do touch on. However, as you said, yes, it is another level. With Victoria, it's funny you mentioned opera singers, because that is something I looked to with my hairstyle, the dress, as you've seen, it's very dramatic, the makeup. I did look to big Broadway, big opera stars to their look and their inspiration, and pulled from that. I wanted a really big, dramatic halo eye, a big spotlight eye, because why have one spotlight when you can have two? So I really looked to being the most dramatic possible human being you could think of.
And do you use so normal women's makeup, or do you use stage stuff as well to get that?
Currently, I'm mainly using a lot of my normal makeup, a few different things. So I use clown white for my eyes.
Okay.
Obviously, I glue my brows down, so I just use the Elmer's
purple glue. Now we'll get into. So you do glue your brows down. I've tried Elmer's. Now Elmer's, for people not listening, it's like Pritt Stick over here,
Absolutely.
Isn't it? It's American. Yeah. I bought that purple Pritt Stick Elmer's, and then I've tried putting it on. Sorry, people who are listening, you're gonna have to just wait, because I want to get tips here. So I've put it on my eyebrows, and this stuff just doesn't set. It just takes ages, and you're supposed to layer. How do you get your Elmer's to set?
Right. So first of all I rub it all in, like crazy. Rub it all in, every single possible hair, and then I smooth it all down with a toothbrush to comb it, and then I use the back of the toothbrush to really make it flat.
Yeah.
And then I get my hairdryer, and then I dry that. So then that's
on cold or hot?
Yes, definitely on cold.
Cold, right? Okay.
Or as low as it can.
Yeah.
And then I wait until that is bone dry, and then I do another layer.
Right.
Do the same again. I don't really brush it, because otherwise you're disturbing the previous layer. So then I just do a smooth layer over the top. After all that, I clean up the rough edges with a makeup wipe.
Yeah.
And this is the important bit to make it set. So you get your setting powder.
Yeah.
And a sponge, or whatever you use.
Yeah.
Something with a flat surface, not a brush.
Yeah.
So you want to really press the setting powder into it.
Okay.
And really want to push it in flat to your face.
Right,
And then you brush off the residue, wait for it to properly set, and you're good to go.
Oh,
you can put foundation and all sorts over the top of that.
It's a wonderful effect when you can get it. I have tried it, but just not quite getting it to set. So I'll try that with the hairdryer. And for anybody listening, I know there's various drag techniques to getting eyebrows covered. I use, at the moment, spirit gum, stage with stuff to glue down fake moustaches or whatever, and I put that goes rock solid, and then eyebrow wax over the top, but it's just not as smooth as I think as your technique. Okay, so you put and of course once the eyebrows are taken out, that's the lovely effect I like. You can draw in absolutely anything then, and that's
the blank canvas.
And then you do these wonderful sort of brownish eyebrows, I think. What do you use for that? Is that just is it an eyeshadow? Is it an eyebrow pencil? How do you get that effect?
It's actually what I use when I Emily. It's my Anastasia Beverly Hills sort of gel pomade, I think it's called. But then, so I do that as sort of like a light base, and then I go over very, very lightly with a darker colour to do some sort of individual hairs.
Sure.
So that just to make it look a bit more realistic, because obviously she's a real woman, really, Victoria.
Well,
she's very dramatic. She's not very subtle.
So well, yes, because but then isn't that the way that you're Emily one day and then you're Victoria and you're this dramatic drag character on stage. So is there
Absolutely.
how much of Emily is in Victoria? Do you think?
I think definitely with the personality, but ironically, I really don't wear makeup very often as Emily. Only really on an occasion to go out. But for work, for my normal work, I don't really wear much makeup. I like having the sort of nothing on in the day, and I love the whole polar opposite transformation of Victoria.
And this is it. You can become someone else in the evening. So,
yeah.
And then with all the shows you've done, and not just with Victoria, can you think of? Because I've done comedy. I've had a few bad gigs myself. Can you remember when you've had a terrible gig and it just wasn't going well, and any situation like that you might have been in?
Oh gosh, let me think. Not that I've not had bad gigs, I have, but I'm just trying to think of the best example. I've had wigs fly off.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
No, really? Because I must admit, I've never. I'm pretty static when I've done really. So because you're obviously dancing movement, so a wig can just detach itself.
Yes, when one does move that vigorously, it can.
So
I think it was actually when I was playing. This is really funny because I was playing Seymour from Little Shop of Horrors, so baby drag when I was quite younger.
Okay, and just tell us about. So for people who've not seen Little Shop of Horrors, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
So it's about the big singing plant, effectively.
Yes,
and so Seymour is the Rick Moranis character from the film. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so you were playing a boy there.
I was. It wasn't meant to be that way. I think I was a bit younger at the time, so it was sort of young Amdram, but they thought I would be best for the role.
Oh, fantastic. So what was that like then? That's your again, here we go. We've got a journey of gender cross-dressing here. So you were playing a boy. How did that feel then to suddenly I've got to play a boy?
It was really interesting. Obviously not normally you would get to play that, so it was really fun to play something other than the norm, because at that time really I was only getting sort of the damsel in distress roles or comedy characters as a woman.
Right.
So it was really interesting to play a man, but it was quite funny when I came off, no one recognised me. Everyone thought, and I think I even heard a comment, or someone told me that they said, oh, that boy that played Seymour was good. So very convincing.
Wow, well, there we go. So that's and as you say, it's you get stuck into stereotypical roles, and here you are. You just tried. They said just try that, and it was completely different, and you pulled it off.
Yeah, it's always good to do different things.
And so,
as I said.
Was this and did your wig fly off when you were Seymour? Is this
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. That would have probably crossed the illusion there.
Yes. Yeah. But then that happens. Oh right. Okay. So this is all. So there's loads of. Your history here. I think this has all come to one point now. And listen, you're now in the final of Drag Idol. So
yes.
I think so. Good luck for the 29th, and I'll keep people posted on the Funny Peculiar. I'll make announcements here and there, but we'll see it on Instagram. We'll find out more.
Yes.
But listen, thank you for talking today. I have one more question for you.
Yes.
Victoria, I'll call you Victoria because that's how I first met you. But so, who do you think I should have on the podcast next, or in future episodes? Who do you think I should interview?
Well, if you haven't done a drag king yet, have you not?
No, I've not. I'm still looking for one.
Well, I could definitely recommend a few, but one I would probably recommend at the moment is Mark Anthony, as he or she just won Not Another Drag competition at her upstairs.
Okay.
So that would be one interesting conversation, I think. Yeah.
Drag king. Mark. So that is a female, but her character is Mark Anthony.
Yes.
So and the names are great. I just love the way Victoria Scone, and there's all the drag queens have here. There's Anaphylactic. There's I've mentioned Cheddar Gorgeous, but Mark Anthony. So of course that I take it is Shakespeare. Is it Julius Caesar? Am I getting
Julius
that right?
Caesar, yeah.
It's very so. I love people's creativity on the names. That's brilliant. Right, I will try and track Mark Anthony down if he hasn't stabbed Caesar already, and is then Caesar another drag king on the set? Who knows? Let's get in contact and let's start doing that now. That's
Make that happen.
Yeah, that's quite a good idea. Anyway, listen, Victoria, thank you very much for coming on the podcast today and telling us your story. And I will no doubt. I think I'm definitely going to have a catch up with you whatever down the line to find out how you're doing and where you are. So you're a definite there. So, but thank you again for coming on the show.
Absolutely, anytime.
You've been listening to Funny Peculiar. Tune in next week. More great guests.
So a big thank you to Victoria Scone for coming on the show. And unfortunately, she didn't win the final. That went to Felix Lafrique, who was brilliant. But they were all brilliant. And Victoria is a great act. And go and see her. Check out her Facebook, which is Victoria Scone, or Instagram, which is Victoria Queen of Scones, and find out where she's performing next. And go and see her. Again, thanks for listening. Thanks for downloading. Keep telling your friends. And keep it funny peculiar.